Tsukai Narayuki Bangumi Hun Takeshi Jo! This is the heaven-splitting castle known as Takeshi-jo. On this date 40 years ago, a fierce battle for this castle first unfolded. The 100 million yen stronghold belonged to this man, Beat Takeshi. From 1986 to 1989, this castle was the centerpiece of a show unlike any seen before or since. Known by its international title of Takeshi's Castle, the show would capture the adoration and love of its viewers every Friday night at 8 p.m. Thousands came to the grounds of Midoriyama to take part in this show, all enduring surreal challenges in an attempt to reclaim the stronghold. Today, on the 40th anniversary of the show, we present this tribute in its honor, in which you'll see footage from the series with rarely translated subtitles, exclusive photos, and a conversation with a diverse group of 15 of those brave warriors who all took part in trying to reclaim the fortress. I, your faithful narrator in Takeshi-jo Mania, Joshua Murphy, shall be your guide for this celebration. Warriors and viewers alike, go forth and learn of the program that brought the Japanese game show to the masses!
この竹市場の歩みを振り返ってみたいと思います。
これから工事始まるけどね、無事を祈って安全祈願でね、一応昔から橋なんか作る時は必ず人柱ってのやったから、我々もちょうど役に立ったのよ2人を人柱してて、私がここまで打ち込んだから。
後楽園球場のおよそ8倍という広大な緑山の敷地に延べ400人もの作業員が動員され、昼夜を問わず突貫工事が行われました。大掛かりな工事ながらも一人の犠牲者も出すことなく無事終わるかに思えましたが、
ダメだ映しちゃこの野郎、本当に安全第一だってこの野郎、ダメだこの野郎。
数多くの尊い犠牲を払いながらも惜しげもない人海戦術の末、総工費なんと1億円と言われる難攻不落の竹市場は昭和61年5月、ここ緑山にそびえ立ったのであります。この日からこの城をめぐる数々の戦いのドラマが生まれることになったのであります。堂々の行進です。
Oh, there I am. Oh my God. I'm on Kent's back.
Yep.
That's hysterical.
僕らインターナショナルチームだよ。
No, that's hysterical. So I remember very clearly, like the first activity was like a bagel run, like there was bagels hanging from the thing. And then the next activity that I did, which was my last one, it was when you had to run through the little maze in the house, and then like someone would do a jump scare and then you would jump out a door, and I landed in the water. And so then after that, they were interviewing me, but because I didn't speak Japanese, they just completely cut it out. My agent sent me, and so because the international team of the show I did was all famous gaijin except for me and I think one other. We were not famous, but we were like, I did a lot. I did a NHK TV show, and a lot of voice work. So my agent just sent me, but I didn't speak Japanese, so I was cut very quickly.
Where were you living at that time?
In Tokyo, in Shinjuku. Yeah. I was there for 5 years, so I moved around a bit. But yeah, I loved it. But back in the 80s, man, that was the time to be there.
So you knew about this because I actually had never watched any episode of the show until Joshua, you sent me the episode I was on just a few years ago when somehow we connected.
Jeff didn't even know what the show was.
Because I left Japan and I was just traveling around Southeast Asia. I left Japan and I live in an alternative world in the States when I'm here. But I was just, I did not have any connection to that world. And I'll tell you, Joshua and everybody else, when I talk to almost all the Europeans that I meet from a certain generations, they all know this show. And everybody, I've heard this so many times. Oh, I grew up with that show. We used to watch it every day.
Can everyone see the screen? Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, this is you, right? In the red?
I guess so. There you go. Hey, Owen, there I am. My son did not believe that I had been on. That's right. That's me.
Oh my God.
Okay, and let me tell you, after that, after I slid down the wall, I'm laying there in the pit of mud, and whoever the guy is that's the TV commentator, interviewer guy, and I'm laying in the mud, and he stuck the microphone in my face and started asking me questions in Japanese, which I did not understand at all. I didn't speak Japanese. And as a good American who appreciates good film interest, my instinct was to grab him and pull him into the mud with me. But my cultural instinct said that's probably really taboo. Don't do that. So it might have made great television, but it could have gotten me in a lot of trouble.
I can assure you that if you had done it, they would have loved it. Like on the show, it would have all's fair.
Yeah. Well, I had never seen the show before. I didn't know anything about it, and I don't think the other people, because this was specifically a Gaijin episode, so we were all foreigners, and the other guy that was there at the base of the wall with me was a U.S. soldier who was stationed in Japan, and he didn't know anything about the show, but it was kind of at that time in the 80s in Southeast Asia. It was a, backpacker hippie crowd kind of floating around the world and looking for a way to make a few dollars any way he could. So I don't think any of us, nobody that I talked to, knew anything about the show there in the first season. But when you went on it in the next year, your agent already told you about it and you knew exactly what you were getting into.
Or she might have just said, just show up here. I might have heard about it, but I had never watched it. But I knew how to.
I can't remember how, because it was not that far out of Tokyo wherever I got on it. I can't remember if they sent a van and picked us up or what.
It's in Midoriyama, which is just outside, I believe, of Wakayama.
Oh my God, I wouldn't have a clue. I have no idea. It was so long ago. I'm old now, so I don't remember. But I just remember it was fun, and Chuck Wilson and Dave Spector and Kent Darracott, they were all famous. But my particular episode, it was all of the Japanese teams were all famous. It was like a group of comedians, some athletes, right, Josh? It was like a special episode.
It was a 2-hour long special, and they had a team. They had I think it was 16 or 15 teams. There was Team International,
Yes,
Team Female Wrestlers, Team Former Pop Stars, Team Baseball, former baseball players. team free. I guess you would call them free runners nowadays, or parkour athletes. Yep.
Wow, very cool. See, Josh, I don't have to remember anything. I got you.
Yeah.
But I do have to go because my son needs me. But thank you so much for doing this. You're amazing. I just like interacting with you. That's awesome. Jeff, nice to meet you.
Nice
Russ,
to
nice
meet
to meet
you.
you.
Nice to meet you.
And
Andy.
yeah, this was really cool, Josh. Keep in touch, okay?
Absolutely.
So, Joshua, do you have a sense, like, of all the people that you are in contact with, what countries they're from, where they're? Because, like I say, I've been amazed at the high. Like, no American that I raised the show with has ever heard of the show, but every European does.
Yeah, it aired in edited form in a bunch of different countries. So the United Kingdom, I would end up by proxy, Ireland, Germany had an edit, Spain. You could pretty much just pick a country and it probably aired there. Australia, New Zealand, Iran. I think it aired in Iran. I'm not sure. Um, Taiwan. The only one that I know that aired it like with subtitles unedited was, I believe, Taiwan. But I don't know how. I don't speak Chinese, so I don't know how accurate those subtitles were. Um,
I was just talking to a woman from Italy who grew up with the show down when I was down in Argentina last week. Who grew up with the show.
Anastasiopoulos si chiama questo concorrente e ce la fa.
And I've met Germans and Spanish that have watched it for sure.
Wenn ihn denn zu fassen kriegt. Wenn nicht, wird eben nass.
Ahora entiendo por qué querían que corriera en esta calle. Es la última prueba que me invento. ¡Lo dejo!
There you are, Russ.
Did you do that on purpose?
Yep. Like I say, I was focused on that surfboard, trying to get back on it. And I figured the quickest way to do it was to crawl across and flop back down on it. But as you see, that might not have been the best strategy.
I remember they fed us well. That was, I'm a starving kid on the streets, you know. We got a good meal out of it.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we got bento box and tea, but of course, being in the Navy, we smuggled in our own booze, and that's most of what we drank.
Oh goodness!
I talked to do you remember the Stones, Russ? The running and Jeremy would have been your episodes where they had the stones that sink. Someone who wasn't able to make it in this call said that the members of the Army or the Marine or the Navy were communicating via some sort of signal system which stones would sink and which ones would float to the people who were going to do the game. I don't know if you have any insight into that.
No, I don't.
I don't. No.
This is Jeff right here in episode 12.
Yeah, we because you couldn't get over that wall without multiple people.
And you did Jeremy and Russ, you guys did the doors, right?
Yeah, to actually get in their position to be chosen to do one of the tasks, you had to get through the doors.
Yeah.
Has this same comedian has beat Takeshi been like a big name in Japan all these decades?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no worries. This is Neil.
Hi, Neil. Neil was in episode 125. I'm going to show Neil's clip to everybody. Neil, if you can hear me still, do you mind if I tell everyone how old you were when you were on the show?
No, I'll go for it.
How old are you?
18
18? 18 随分
Yep. We snuck out of school to go to the taping, and then had a watch party at somebody's house with all our friends come over to watch the show.
So your family was there?
Yeah, I was going to the American school in Japan, 85 or 89, and we got on in '89. The taping was in February, snowing when I fell into the water, and spoiler alert. And then it aired in April.
So, were you a fan? Had you been watching the show for those years before you were on?
No, just a guess. One shot wonder. Myself, Scott Trickey, and my girlfriend at the time, we auditioned downtown and got on, and then, like I said, skipped school that day to head to the taping. I don't even remember what it was. It was out a ways.
It was in Midoriyama. This is Bill. He was in the same episode you were in, Jeff. And this is Val and Chris. They were in the another big special episode where they had footage from, I'm trying to think of how to describe it. Because Val, you were on the American pilot for Takeshi's Castle, right?
Right. Yeah, the guy from Fox News at the time, Steve, he was trying to make it go big, with the
Steve Wong.
Yeah, Steve Wong, is that his name?
Steven さん、お仕事は producer. Television.
Television producer.
Yeah.
Hi, Diane.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you? This is everybody who has so far joined us. We have Jeff, who was in episode 12. We have John and Aaron and Jeremy, who were in episode 92. We have Neil, who was in episode 125. We have Val and Chris, who were in the episode 106, the International Battle Special. And everybody, this is Diane. She was in episode 83. She got caught in the maze.
Which episode was I in?
12.
12, okay.
Michelle, you there?
I am. Hi, Joshua. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Michelle. Michelle's our Vancouverite. Michelle, this is Jeff and Bill. They were in the same episode you were in.
Oh, were they? Hi, guys.
Wow. Episode 12.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we were probably on the same bus, and you guys, I don't remember how many buses we had coming from the middle of Tokyo, but you remember Kitty?
I was good friends with Kitty, yeah.
So Kitty was a gentleman who basically came in drag, came with a parasol and a hat and a dress, and was very flamboyant. Basically, I think he saw this. He was an actor at the time, and I think saw this as his shot, as a springboard, something greater. I don't know if it worked out, but yeah, here we go. Because you see afterwards, he's speaking to the interviewer and saying,
Man? No, Kitty, your lover.
Finally, the translation comes in, and you see his face kind of go. Because it was amusing on the bus, when we got on the bus to go out to wherever it was where it was being filmed, Kitty explained, because we're like, who the hell is this dude?
Do you speak English?
Sure do, honey.
Really?
What do you need?
And he explained that actually what they did, he and his little troupe, they called it reality acting. And what they would do is they would go to like a random restaurant or something. And they would all have little, backstories, bits of what they were going to do. Not necessarily a script, but, these two people would be dating and then they were going to break up in the restaurant. And then, this other guy was going to come in and he was like an ex-boyfriend. And then they would just go, and everybody else there didn't know what was going on. So it was kind of like guerrilla acting or something like that. But he explained that was what he and his folks did. And then he just, I guess, saw this as his shot. It's pretty funny.
You're going to have a great time here. They love blondes.
And they were doing that in 86?
Yes, sir.
I've heard about people doing that recently in New York and other places just in the last couple of years. Okay, that was pretty avant-garde in 86, but this TV show was pretty avant-garde.
True. Yeah. Oh, Michelle, that's you?
Yeah.
I remember you, yeah.
No, for the money!
Hey,
money! Time is
No, that's Jeff right there falling down after having lost.
Oh, Jeff, I stepped on your head, I'm sure.
Moment of glory.
Next. Bill Gibson. Bill Gibson.
Oh, yeah. So there I am in all my 18-year-old glory and my cheesy mustache. So here's what happened. Before they started filming, they said, okay, first of all, you're all gaijin, so you're too stupid to know Japanese, so everybody speak English. And so, of course, I immediately screwed that up.
American Taishkan.
Oh, American embassy.
Embassy,
oh,
yeah.
okay. Oh.
American Embassy.
Because I said American Taishkan, meaning American Embassy. And I was like, afterwards going, oh, brilliant. But the other fun thing is they asked your occupation, your name, your age, and you're supposed to say that. One of the guys, they got to him before the filming, and they said, "What do you do?" He says, "Oh, I'm unemployed." They all went, "Oh no!" They said, "Oh, you can't say you're unemployed." He said, "Say you're in the military," because that was their go-to. You're in the military. He says, "Okay, that's what I'll say." They start filming. They do the blah, 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 and they get to him. They say, "What do you do for a living?" He says,
And I'm a babysitter.
Babysitter. And so the rest of us in the line lose it. I mean, we're laughing hysterically, but there was a delay in the translation. So they didn't know what he said, and then they moved on before they could really fix it. So that's what aired. That's why you can see we're all just giggling after they finish, because he just sort of zinged them with that.
And ladies as well.
Val, that's you, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's me. And I ended up choosing that red tennis ball, and I got a guy pretty much the same size as me. So we were in the full-on sumo wrestling fight versus having to, a big guy would just push me out. We were in a full-on fight. Look at that.
So watch. So she gets, as soon as he picks her up, he lands on her, and she bangs her head on the ground. Watch the landing.
But look at me pushing. I'm like, I don't know how to wrestle.
Right?
You're holding your own.
You
Wait,
are.
just watch.
I thought you had it here.
Oh, that's so badly.
Look, I want to tell a quick story, because Valerie and I were dating at the time, and we went to Steve and said, "Hey."
Steven, for those who may not know, was producing an American remake of Takeshi's Castle.
Oh.
So we went to him. Valerie had won the competition here, so I had no right to be going. But I tagged along, and about halfway through the episodes, one of the American men got hurt. So they kind of looked around like, "Hey, you want to do this thing?" So I ended up getting a shot at doing it, and it was one of the greatest memories of my life with Valerie. So
it was fun.
It was really amazing.
The 3 flies up one, where you're in the big baseball uniform, and they send the ball up, and you're on cushiony ground, and it's like really hard to get the ball, but he caught it.
Yeah, had to bounce.
Yeah.
This is John, Jeremy, and Aaron. They were in episode 92. They were, you guys were studying karate at the time, right?
That's right. We were studying at the headquarters of the Japan Karate Association in Ebisu. And I don't know how we ended up on the show, but I think John had something to do with that.
I think Aaron's girlfriend at the time, right?
Yeah, she did. She found out how to get us on it.
Okay. That's how. All right.
I'm curious, how did it be that everybody, got word of this? Because at the time, I was, managing a pool at the embassy pool as a lifeguard. And one of my lifeguards came up to me and said, "Hey, you want to be on this TV game show?" And I'm like, "Okay." And I don't know how he found out about it, but he just came to me and drugged me along, and off I went.
We used to watch it all the time, and she's like, "You should go on that. You should go on that." And so she figured out how to do it. And then I guess we talked to John and Jeremy, and we all said, "Let's do it."
I heard about the show from my communications chief. This guy was like 20 years older than I was. And he said, "There's this cool TV show here in Japan. You can go out and make a fool out of yourself, and they'll feed you and give you money and all that cool stuff." So, yeah, I volunteered, and my ex heard about it and said, "Yeah, I want to go too."
I was actually signed up to a talent agency. And that's how they just rang me up and said, "Hey, are you interested?" I would sometimes get calls, they needed a gaijin actor or someone to walk across the airport. Yep, that's me. I was freshman at Sophia University. Yeah, but I was like on the fence about doing this because I actually had a trip to Greece scheduled in March, and I was like, well, what if I make it all the way? I'm gonna have to, like reschedule my flight. I almost made it out. They grabbed me, and I just remember, I think it was Animal kind of grabbed me like by the crotch or something and lifted me up, and I screamed out, and then they threw me out.
You were close though. That was good.
Scott found out about ours. Same thing. We'd been watching it for years. We shouted, "Hey, we should get on that." Nobody knew how. Scott found out. We went down and auditioned at NHK downtown. Went into a little room, talked for like 10 seconds, and then we left. And we were like, "Well, we get it. We didn't know." Then, yep, we were on.
Okay, please, sing, please.
I found out at our gym. It was a local gym that was really popular, and they said, "Hey, sign up for this it was called King of the Mountain." So you had to actually win King of the Mountain before you made it to Takeshi's castle.
Val and Chris did not live in Japan. They came to Japan just to be on the show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we lived in the United States.
We were in Southern California. We were in LA. Valerie was at she was running on the treadmill, and somebody came up and said, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And remember Lyle Elzado? I don't know if you're okay. So Lyle Elzado, he was a Raiders lineman, and he was the host. He had retired, and he was the host of this competition in the valley up in Ventura. And Valerie ended up winning the women's division and came in second overall with 800 people. So it was kind of exciting.
There was a fireman that was the first place guy. He was really good.
Occupation, fireman.
Frankie, you there?
Yes. Can you see me or hear me?
I can see you and hear you, Frankie. This is everyone.
Hello, everyone. Sorry. Gomen nasai. Forget my Japanese. I'm late. How do you say, Joshua, I'm late? But wait, let me show you. You can see what I look like back then.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, Frankie, if you really want to see yourself, you can just look at the screen right now because
oh,
here you are.
Oh, that was you.
All right. Look at that.
There was a lot of mud on that hillside. I think we were at a disadvantage.
Mud everywhere.
What are you doing?
He's got a paper target on a water gun, and they're trying to break each other's target. And Frankie gets his broken first, so he loses.
So Frankie, you were on my episode as well.
I'm sorry.
Frankie, Bill, Michelle, and Jeff in this call were all in your episode as well.
Oh, okay, good. How exciting to bring back these memories, these wonderful memories.
Hey, look who's there.
Hey, there I am.
Where's everybody now?
Yeah, Fort Worth, Texas.
I'm in Round Rock, Texas.
I'm in a blizzard in Hell's Kitchen, New York City. That's where I am.
Will be.
Wow.
Towards Memphis.
I was in Paraguay a couple days ago, and I just flew up to.
I live in the DC area, and Scott lives here too.
So all you folks that were on the same episode 12 in 1986, I did not have any kind of audition. I feel bad for all these people. I heard about it from I was on the streets all the time, and there was a Japanese guy that ran an English language school, and I could kind of like talk the talk. I never actually taught English for him, but he would pay me. He would take me around to lunches when he was going to a hospital or a big corporation to try to get their account to get all their people to take his English school. And he kind of acted like I was one of his teachers, although I wasn't. And I'd go out and make polite conversation about various professional topics, and then he would just stick money in my pocket. I don't know how I met this guy, but that was the guy, and I can't remember his name now, but that was the guy that just told me, hey, there's this TV show if you want to do something, you know, and I did never heard of it before, or, you know, I knew the name, I had a t-shirt, but I was not. Somehow Joshua got in touch with me a couple of years ago, and it was like, finally, I got to see the show.
Son reached out. Son or daughter?
My son, that's right. Yeah. Because I told him, and they never, because I had done a lot of things around the world before I had kids, so they never knew quite what I was making up, or whether there really was this show in Japan.
生き残り選手88名、それぞれの国旗を誇り高く掲げて次の難関へと進む。
Jeff, Bill, Frankie, there is a television museum in Japan that specializes in preserving older television shows. They have one episode of Takeshi's Castle in their library, and it is your episode. That is one they have chosen to preserve.
All right.
Is that in Tokyo?
It's near Wakayama, I believe. Somewhere near you. I'd have to look. Yokohama. It's in Yokohama.
Okay.
Anyone get one of these when they were on the show?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah, I got one of those. I had. Oh yeah, there. Jeremy's got it. Mine wore out years ago.
I got a yellow T-shirt. I did get a yellow T-shirt. Yeah.
Jeremy, did you ever wear that?
Nope.
I just got my T-shirt back. So I don't know how everybody else's experiences, but since I was one of the 5 finalists, they did it all day, and then they got to a point, it got too dark. They said, okay, you guys have to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, but you have to leave your clothes. I'm like, why? And they said, because it has to look the same. So when I came back, it was either the next day or a couple of days later, that shirt that I was wearing was so crusted with crud and mud and stuff. It literally stood. I had to get it wet. I had to wet the thing in order to get it back on. So it's a disgusting thing, but yeah, it was muddy, as you said. It was, you know.
I have the original VHS tape here.
Oh.
Yeah. My VHS tape says August 22nd, 1986. TBS Tokyo.
Yeah, my mom taped it from the TV. So it literally, our version of it actually has the Japanese commercials in the tape.
So does mine.
Cool. Nice.
So did mine, but I've lost it.
Hi, Dick. Hey. Oh, hold on, Rick.
But Chris, Val, Dickie says hi from Holland.
Oh yeah.
What's your occupation? I'm the best bossman of Holland.
That was fun. It was so fun because it was there was the Taiwanese, the people from Holland or Amsterdam, and then our group. So that was a fun one.
In Japan.
Yeah, and then the Japanese. Yeah.
Is anyone still in Japan?
I'm going back probably. I moved out to Texas in 2011 after the 3/11 earthquake. But I'm looking to retire in the next 2 years, and I think I'm married. My husband's Japanese, so we will likely go back.
That's great.
That was a question I had. What is everybody doing now? Like, how did they end up? I'm a construction lawyer in the suburbs of DC, doing litigation. So I was curious, what does everybody else do?
I work at the American Embassy in. I'm just kidding.
No. Are you also a lifeguard at the pool?
No, I teach karate as a profession.
I'm a babysitter.
I am a bankruptcy attorney in Monterey, California.
Well, I was an actor before I moved to Japan. I was a young character actor, and that's what I did on NHK and Telebi Asahi and all that.
Hey! 遊びに行くならこれしかないアメリカ生まれの楽しい嬉しいキャンピングカー
Now I'm an old. My nickname in Japan was Genki Frankie.
Oh.
Now I call myself Scarletta Frankie. Old. But I am still a character actor here in New York City. And I specialize, believe it or not, well, take a good look. I specialize in homeless people, old hippies and drug addicts and mental patients and occasional prisoners a lot and some cult members. So you never know if you see someone who looks a little bit like this on Law and Order or FBI or you name it, I'm there. You probably have seen me, but usually these days they don't let me talk too much because they have to pay a lot more money. Any New York type street scene, if it's a homeless person, I'm one of several who do it. And I'm in a show right now called The Beauty, which is very creepy. But it's a Ryan Murphy thing that's on. But anyway, that's what I do. And I live here right in the middle of Hell's Kitchen in New York City. So, and you can look me up on YouTube. You can have a YouTube channel and Facebook if you want to subscribe or like.
Frankie's in the trailer for Beauty, believe it or not.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. Oh, wow.
Even though it's just by luck I'm in the trailer. It's not that I had a big role, but I was the homeless guy sitting on the sidewalk when the guy walks by me and says, "Hey, I just got the beauty shot." And since it's about that, I happen to be in that 1 second right there. So that's why I'm in the trailer. Not for any major reason other than that. So,
Neil, you still there?
Yeah, I'm a food scientist for Three Dog Bakery. So I design and develop dog treats.
Nice.
So little plug for the company. You go into Walmart or Target and you see a dog treat that looks like an Oreo or a Fig Newton. That's us. And I've developed a significant portion of our portfolio. We're out of Kansas City.
Yeah, Neil and I live in the same city. That's how small our world is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And we're just heading back from a stupid, hey, let's go 7 states away to go saltwater fishing in Florida. So we're returning because we have to go to work tomorrow.
I think you're heading in the wrong direction.
We are, but I know.
He just taking the long way.
Yeah.
So on the question of what we're doing now, I'm doing the same thing I was doing in the 80s, which is kind of bouncing around the world, living out of a backpack, spending a lot of time kind of trying to figure out where I am and what I'm doing. I just spent been the last few months in Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay, and came back here. But I've heard two folks saying that they're still practicing law, because I actually had a Joshua, you don't know this, but I actually had a legal career before 1986. I was doing high stakes professional negligence and appellate work, and got out of that. And I've had a second career later, more recently, got sucked into the legal world. But I've spent a lot of my time in my life, including now, single-handedly building various houses. So originally in North Carolina, but I don't know if I told you this story, Joshua. My first house that I built in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains of Colorado, single-handedly built, and I'm 10 miles to the nearest electric line, was on propane, had a propane refrigerator, and a bear got into my house, pulled the refrigerator over, and burned my house to the ground. I lost everything, including all my most valuable artifacts of my life. But my Takeshi's T-shirt survived the fire, but heavily burned. So it has multiple stories to tell. And I'm still at this age building my fourth house from scratch. So my life is kind of the same, but I'm not practicing law. God bless you people that are still doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have been a director of sales and technology, cloud services, wide area networks, and I run multiple offices in Southern California. And I've been doing that for a long time. So always something in sales leadership and technology.
And I'm an electrification consultant dealing with off-grid energy, EV charging, anything relates to electron movement, and have been doing that for 2 years full time, but before that on the development side of energy projects.
So is that are you working with utilities?
So utilities is always a component of it. What I do is integration. So I will look at individual siloed technology, the EV vehicle, the charger, the generation, solar battery storage, energy management, virtual power plants. You mentioned propane, anything that relates to power to electric. So propane, natural gas, microgrid.
Interesting.
Oh my God. Sorry, I don't know why I'm so echoey.
It's the Darth Vader effect.
The Vader effect. I'm in Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, that explains it.
Somebody mentioned animal earlier. When we were on, we tried to chat with him, but he just seemed really aloof.
What are you doing to me? Come up here and tap me like that. What the heck's wrong with you? You think you're Snake and Eddie from Turlock or something? What the heck's wrong with you? Leave me alone. I don't need none of that stuff.
But the guy in the African safari hat after we were done. We hung out by the burn barrel smoking cigarettes and just chatting. He was the nicest guy on camera, little African safari hat guy.
He was nice.
One of the things, Joshua, I don't know if because this is being recorded, but a lot of your, viewers may not have gotten that. It sort of surprised me going through this experience was that not everyone does every one of the challenges.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
So, and people that weren't actually involved. I mean, everybody that was here was like, yes, but the people that weren't in it don't understand that they do enough people on each challenge to get footage, and then they move on, and then you get to if you're successful, you go to the back of the line. And the reason why I just remember that so vividly is because there was, in our episode, I don't know, folks who were on it, there were these 4 panels and each had 4 doors. And 2 of the panels were rice paper and 2 of them were solid wood. And I said, okay, you pick a door and just go haul on after it, go through. And I happened to hit all 4 paper doors and made it through. But it was so fast, they didn't get it. So that me successfully navigating that challenge never made it to the episode because they had to use somebody else. And then I went to the back of the line. So I didn't do, for example, the maze, I also didn't have to do the swing with them shooting volleyballs at you at 120 miles an hour, which, by the way, was very different if you ever noticed the difference between the Gaijin show when the Japanese did it, because I did. And when the Japanese did that rope swing, the little narrow bridge, the rocks on top, but they're shooting the volleyballs at you. Okay. When we did it, there was like this with the volleyballs. And there were about like 4 rocks on top and 3 rocks on the bottom. And I saw a Japanese version of that. And it was like these nice little lobs, volleyballs. Oh, we're going to lob it. There was maybe 1 rock on top, 1 on the bottom. I was like,
Later, they got rid of the rocks, and all you had to do was catch a gold ball and walk across.
Oh, that's no fun.
Yeah. Michelle did that challenge, right?
I did.
Aaron, because we didn't get to see you much. Do you remember which games you played?
Yeah, I did the surfboard going around and around, jumping over.
Did you make it?
I got to the very end and was holding on to it, and it was made of foam, and it let go, and I fell down into the water.
Yeah, I biffed it coming out of the shark's mouth. I would have loved to have done the 4 doors, because even if they were wood, the time I was 6'2".
You could probably bust right through it.
I was just planning on, and I played football, judo. Screw it. I'll just lower the shoulder and see if I can take the whole thing down. You know, even if it wasn't rice paper. That was one I wanted to do.
Yeah, we didn't have much choice, and it was our day. It was a really soggy, wet day, and it was pouring rain, and everybody was slipping and sliding in the mud all around everywhere.
Ours was cold. It was snowing, and you fall into that pond, and at least the water right near the shark's mouth, very deep. When I hit the water, the next thing I remember is my head and shoulders slamming into the bottom.
Yeah.
And standing up, kind of going, I'm alive, all good.
So, Joshua, I just wanted to add that Jeremy, John, and I all were studying karate in Tokyo at the time when we did this show. And Jeremy, you still train, don't you?
Not a whole lot lately. I was teaching up until the pandemic, actually, here in Monterey, and then just kind of gradually got out of it and got busy with work.
But John and I are both instructors still, and I'm also an author. I've written a number of books on yoga and martial arts and breathing and stuff.
We have a new guest sorry, Frankie. We have Roger joined us. Roger's the granddaddy of all.
Yeah.
He was in episode 12, 83, and 110.
Wow.
Yeah. And by default, I ended up in the chariots at the end because I believe the Aussies or the New Zealanders or whatever, they said they had a major exam at some university, and they said they couldn't stay to try and overtake Takeshi's castle. So I'm in the lineup by default in one of the episodes, and of course, the miserable ending where they finished us off in about 10 seconds flat.
It was rigged, huh? It was rigged because he always won, right?
I found someone who did win. Hey, Roger, who's that?
There you go, right there.
Oh, my.
Yeah, that Jishin, that was the
Hendo Oji-san.
Yeah. Yeah. The earthquake, the zabuton, they call them. These are called zabuton that you're on, and they're shaking us all up, and I hung on. Oh,
nice.
Very good.
I wish I still had that wig, however.
That was a wig?
Yes. It wasn't obviously not my hair. I was in the Navy. I was stationed nearby in Yokohama.
John, do you remember what you did on the show?
I did. I requested doing the football one, but they said no, and they put me on those rocks instead, going across the pond. And the first one I hit was a fake one. I sort of recovered and got onto another one, and then I got the third one was also a fake one, and I fell in. And fortunately, the water in that pond with those rocks was fairly warm, but soon enough you come out and it was dismal weather there. But I have put in a little bit of effort into trying to walk across stones, sort of make up for that loss. And Aaron also spent a lot of time surfing to try to make up for his loss on surfing.
Jeremy, did you start log rolling to try to make up for yours?
Yeah, I spent some time in Alaska doing some log rolling.
Then I wipe out right here. And I ingested some of that water and got sick.
And you're still alive.
I'm still alive.
He's sitting on a log right now.
I never did any other sumo wrestling.
Well, we've been married 36 years. There's been a little sumo wrestling.
I've done sumo.
Roger, you were weren't you approached by someone at the base?
Here's how we got in. There was a girl, a lady who was in the Navy I worked with, and she was moonlighting as a model, and she her talent agent had the link with Takeshi Joe, with Bito Takeshi. The talent agency had the link, so they requested obviously more participants. So they Katrina was her first name. I can't remember her last name. Said, "Would you like to go and participate in the obstacle course games?" And I said, "Of course." So then she got a lot of other bunch of us. Can't remember how many, but that's how we got invitation to Takeshi Joe.
So Roger, I was on episode 12.
Okay.
And I remember talking to a guy from Yokohama, Navy guy. Was there more than one of you, or was that you I was talking to?
Quite possibly. There were more of us.
But at the very first obstacle, the wall that we had to climb over, I remember that it required more than you couldn't do it as a single person.
Yeah, you made and
it was me and a Navy guy from Yokohama who were the ones that got threw our bodies down at the bottom to let the other people climb over us.
That must have been me, because I did successfully negotiate that first obstacle. So it must have been me.
But you got it. Yeah.
Go for it.
Well, Jeff, and to add on to that story, Jeff. So you typically we had 3 people, and I was also one of the folks at the bottom.
Oh, really?
Pushing people up. Well, here's the thing though. So here we are. We're helping everybody up over the wall, being good guys, our teammates and stuff like that. Okay. And the time ends, and they say, okay, that's the end of time. And we're like, wait, what about us? And they said, we'll give you one shot to run up over the wall. And we're like, huh? I said, yeah, go for it. Good luck. And we're like, well, hell, that sucks. So luckily, I mean, at the time I was, football and track and all that sort of thing. So I was like, well, I'm not having this. And so I took off, ran, and got up, grabbed by my fingertips the rope that was at the top there, and pulled myself over. And I was just sort of like, to you guys.
Wonderful.
But I was like, thanks for
Ninja
nothing.
warrior.
Helping all these people over, and this is what you're going to throw us to the curb.
I love hearing that. I'm sure I was impressed at the time, but I didn't remember that.
Like hell. Well, anyway.
One of the things I noticed is they systematically gleaned folks through every obstacle, regardless if you made it or not. So they'd say, okay, you over here, 8 to 10 of you come over here, and the other ones go over there, and so forth. So it really, I started the conversation earlier. I got in by default. I did not successfully negotiate all of the obstacles, but I got far enough into it by the time, as I said, those university students actually had negotiated the bulk of the obstacles, and they were the real finalists, but they left. And so we ended up at the very end. You'll see in the episode where I'm actually speaking my broken Japanese to forget the
Tony Hayato.
Yeah.
僕の名前はロジャーさんです。
ロジャーさん。
ロジャーカスタング。
Yeah, so that's where I ended up. But like I said, they systematically all the way through made sure that once the finalists, when they got the finalists that got to taking over the castle, they had like a handful. They did deliberately. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. My God, was it a lot of fun.
Yeah.
今週最初の関東賞10万円は悪魔の館でストロング混合と抱き合って心中した。
No one here won the fight at the Spirit Prize, right? I don't think.
Nope.
The what?
The Fighting Spirit Prize they would give to someone who had the best fall or
no,
like it was like 100,000 yen.
It was $600 at the time, whatever that equated to. I did the math at the time. I'm like, damn it, a lot of money for a kid, you know.
Congratulations to you, Thomas. 100,000 yen to you.
Joshua, I have a question. Because when I did this, I was already an actor in Tokyo, so my agent called and said, "We want you on this show. They're going to pay you this amount of money." And I was sort of naive to it all. I said, "Yeah, okay, it's a job. I'll do it." So was everybody paid to be on the show? And also, I didn't do anything. They picked me to do that one thing, and that's what I did.
I'll let everyone else answer that question.
Other people.
I think we got 5,000 yen.
Yeah, 5,000, I think.
That was like $20 or something. It was
I
nothing.
got 10,000.
I got 10,000.
Yeah, and a free lunch.
We should have gotten royalties. We should have gotten royalties all these years.
Yeah.
No, the royalties, they would, if you had asked for royalties, they would say, yeah, you don't need to be on the show.
Yeah.
That worked back then.
We got enough people.
Frankie was the one who wrote me in. I knew Frankie from a dance. I used to study traditional dance. We had met prior, but Frankie said, listen, there's a talent agency and there's a show. But they showed us the videos of what had gone on before, like other past episodes. So we knew, what we were in for.
Michelle, that was through Motoko, right?
Yeah, exactly. I got a cold obento and shoes full of mud.
For us, we got we participated in King of the Mountain, before we made it there, or I did. And so they would just give me, $100 for making it past one obstacle. Then they give me $50, and then they give me something all the way through. And then they just told me they would pay for my trip to Japan and my hotel and everything, and that was enough for me. I was like, oh,
wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
Well, I'm interested to know what conduit that most of you got invited, because through us, of course, I was stationed there, and then, like I said earlier, through the auspices of that talent agency that Katrina was in the Navy and got us in that way. But I'd be interested to hearing how all the rest of you got even notice of this sort of venue.
Neil applied. He saw the show and said, I want to do that.
Yep. Well, Scott did. I just tagged along.
スコットトリッキーです。日本語大丈夫ね。スコットトリッキー。トリッキー。
Okay.
What are these people running from? They're not. They're running to the world's toughest competition in town.
The folks who I work with now, they're much younger than me, and they speak about the the spawning of this game went into a different direction where, in my opinion, they bastardized it because they put English subtitles in, and they took the old footage, of which maybe I was in maybe one episode or two, and they just dubbed in English. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
About MXC, Most Extreme?
MXC,
yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Jeremy and Neil were victims of their changing of it.
No.
And welcome back, everybody. We have got a great competition today, Ken. We're all tied up. But I got to thinking, we've got about 30 or 40 seconds here. You and I ever hardly get a chance to talk. Why don't you and I just sit and chat?
I have a funny recollection. I was about 17 years ago or so. I was over at some friend's house for dinner, and afterwards we were just sitting around watching TV, and that's when they started, like, so I don't know when they started airing it as MXC, right? Extreme.
Is there anything that you want to share or talk about, Ken? No. Oh, come on, Ken. I'm sure there's something. I mean, come on.
Gosh, yeah, not too like maybe in 2006 or something or seven. I don't know when they aired the episode that we were on. I was over there and it was on the show, and I'm like, it all came back. Said I'm on this episode. I hadn't even seen it on TV in the United States. I had no idea it was being re-aired, and then we just happened to find it, and I like, there I am, and I got to see the rollers and everything. It just kind of blew me away. And my friends they had no idea it was on this show, and they were like, "What? What are you doing?"
Today, it's the seafood industry taking on high society.
Jeremy, do you remember what identity they gave you in MXC?
Oh, man.
It's the classic battle of deep water versus deep pocket.
I think I know the episode. I think they made you like some kind of young rich, like, because it was high society. So some sort of like high society joke.
You are. I'm Typo. Next up, Barney Smith. He leads the AA meetings in Hyannisport.
Yeah, fat guy always greets you with, "Hi, I'm Ted. I'm an alcoholic."
Oh, and it looks like he's into his own drink, Ken.
Yeah, exactly. I was some trust fund guy, kid.
I don't know if Neil was a hair lip groomer.
Next up, Cliff Mandible. I like it high and tight. Cliff's a hair lip groomer from West Covina, California.
Those were so clever.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've seen MXC. I was in college at the time, so we would, of course, rot our brains, adult beverages, and watch MXC, and chat with my friends. And I saw scenes from our episode, but I never saw myself on MXC. So if I was on there, that's news to me.
Yeah, he did a nose hair comb over for my nana.
Good stuff, Ken. Oh, and he is over the side of the surfboard of death.
Joshua, can you insert yourself on Takeshi's Castle when you went to Japan 3 or 4 years ago? We can see Joshua. He traveled to Japan and took part.
Oh, nice.
On the remake.
Yeah, I want to see you fall down, Joshua.
Nice.
So what year was that?
2022.
アメリカの超たけし城マニア、ジョシュア・マーフィーさん。
Do I want to tell the brief version of how I got on story? They announced they were making a new one. I read that it was in Japanese and I read it wrong. I thought it was they're putting the old show on Amazon. Then I reread it like, no, they're making a new one and putting that on Amazon. And I applied for no reason other than I wanted them to know that I existed. Like, I did not think that they would have me on. So, but I wanted to hedge my bets. So everything was done via Zoom interview because it was 2022 and COVID was still very much a factor in things. And so I hired an interpreter to help me. And we're in a Zoom interview with the producer with the main producer and then 2 other female producers who are speaking English. And my interpreter says, show them the jacket, which here's the original. I don't know how many would have seen someone wearing this. It would have been in the winter. Here's a original Takeshi's Castle staff jacket.
Nice.
Nice.
Wow.
And then my interpreter says, do the trick, which is, there were 133 episodes of Takeshi's Castle. Could someone give me a number between 1 and 133?
You pick a number? じゃあ数字を適当に選んでください。
42.
Episode 42. That was the second parent-child episode, and in it they played The Clue of Love, The First Fortress, The Devil's Domain, etc., etc. And they said, wow, you know the show better than we do. And when we get done, they say, if you come, it's on your own dime. I'm like, yeah, sure, I understand. Again, thinking they're not going to have me. And we get off, very much a thank you, we'll be in touch. We get off, and my interpreter says, they said they want you.
Ooh.
Yep.
Joshua, can you show us your challenges, please?
I can show you some of it, assuming my computer doesn't crash when I show the video. If anybody wants to see it on their own, I'm in episodes 5 and 6 of the new Takeshi's Castle, which you can see on Amazon Prime in any country in the world.
Wow.
5 and 6.
Oh, I remember those helmets.
I'm wearing a full life jacket, not just the helmet, and elbow pads and everything.
It was hot, wasn't it? It was really hot. he got it.
Got it.
Got it.
Oh. Well, Joshua, to your point about that last challenge, after my experience, and this was back when I was still a stupid 18-year-old, I said they would never be able to make this show in the United States. I said just the insurance and the lawyers and all that sort of thing. I said these people are nuts. I said the things they're making us do and the broken bone possibilities. Only in crazy Japan shows would this happen.
What part of Takeshi Show do you like? It's fun. American game shows, the only thing people care about is winning. Whereas here it seems like people want to have fun more than anything.
What can I give my fanciful speech about what this show means to me? Or is everybody going to scoff?
Go ahead.
Yes.
When people see the show, the general reaction I see is, LOL, Japanese people doing insane funny, falling into mud. I don't see that. I see people who, for, one day, get to throw away all of the stuff in their lives that makes it that we, forget about my job or the world or I got to pay my bill. It's nothing but fun. And I felt that when I was on the show. I don't know if everyone would agree with that, but that's Takeshi's Castle.
That was every day for me in Japan.
Do you want me to tell Michelle, the other story about father and son? Okay. There was an episode, and he couldn't be here for this, of a father and a son. They were in a parent-child special, and I tried forever to find them, and I couldn't find them, and I finally did, and it turned out the father had passed away, but the son was still alive. And so I tracked down the son, and I said, "Can I ask you a question?" And he said, "Were you on this show?" And he said, "Oh my God, we've been looking for that thing forever." Yes. And I said, "I have a copy if you want it." And he said, "Thank you so much. I told my mom that we could see it again, and she started crying."
Oh.
That is what Takeshi's Castle is.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And I have other stories like that I'm holding back. So.
And I wonder, would I go and do Takeshi's Castle today at my age, which is 65?
That's a good question. Show of hands. Who would anyone here do it again?
Of course.
Sure.
I would.
And I tell you, Joshua, the thing was, this was one of the, a special experience in my life. And I found that a lot of the special experiences like that was just because I said yes. And I had as I said, I had this lifeguard that worked for me, and he says, "Hey, there's this weird thing. They're asking for a bunch of foreigners. We're on the show. You want to go do this thing?" And I go, okay. And I was an extra in another movie in college, and it was filmed at my college. And my roommate came up to me and says, "Hey, they're casting extras for this film they're filming. You want to go be an extra?" I was like, "Okay." And you have to do that. I mean, there's so many people that shy away. Either they don't want to get involved, they're sitting on their couch, whatever the case may be. But so many of the things that I've done in my life that have had these long-lasting impressions on me and have given me such wonderful memories is because I said, yeah, sure. And so would I do that today? In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Great sentiment.
And I just heard they're going to be doing a senior citizen Takeshi Castle. So
hey, I'm only 57. I'm not there yet.
I'm
too young.
I was impressed by the number of individuals, participants who actually took it seriously, but I was into it so much so that I don't know, I got pretty close to the end of all the obstacles, and I was approached by a bunch of participants, and they were probably the same ones that had to go take the university test the next day, said, let's form an ANZUS pact of Australian, New Zealand, US pact to overtake this castle. I said, the heck with the seriousness, But I have to agree with everyone. I would definitely do it again. This was the zaniest, most enjoyable thing pretty much that I've ever done.
Ben, is that you, Ben, or is it Kevin?
It is, Ben. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon.
We have our Australian representative. Ben, this is everybody, every single person you're seeing right now was on an episode of Takeshi's Castle at some point.
Hi, Ben.
Fantastic.
Ben was in an episode that had a winner.
やったたけしの戦車が炎上した攻撃の勝利の瞬間だ
Ben's episode did have someone who won at the end of the card battle. Yep.
Wow.
He was the guy that I went with, actually. So he won. And I failed. My feet touched the water and they disqualified me. But it was, as you were just saying, Roger, you were just saying earlier, it was just the maddest, wackest show. And when I first saw it on Japanese TV, I thought, I've got to get on this. And somehow we did. And it was just brilliant. They gave us a bento box, 5,000 yen.
Yeah.
And they gave me a jumper, or a sweater, as you guys call it, as a souvenir. Just brilliant.
Yeah, one of the things that I don't know, John and I don't know what year were we on the show?
88.
88?
Well, it aired in 88. I assume you were on in 88.
Yeah, we were on the same one. So Aaron, yeah, so that was the year that, so we the three of us, well, John and I got there in 85 and stayed until 88. So we were there that last year on the show. But we had done quite a bit of modeling ourselves, actually. John was on subway lines for Pioneer Stereo, and what else? I don't remember. A bunch of other things. And so this was all, this being on this show was sort of like part of that, kind of living this whole life as a foreigner in Tokyo. It seems so surreal looking back now, and how, you know, the interest in the gaijin is just so fascinating. And I haven't been back for years, so I'm not sure what it's like. I'm going actually in May.
I think we were there at a wonderful time to be in Japan. I think it's a lot different now, but as a foreigner, I was there from 1984 to 1988, and I just thought it was the greatest time. I think now Japan must be just overrun with gaijin.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know. I was in Kyoto for a month last year before, and Kyoto was still pretty, there weren't many foreigners. And what's amazing to me is that Japan, even Kyoto, which is one of the most beautiful cities in the world, because the population is falling, the real estate prices are falling. So if you want to go retire in Japan, you can, you're actually thinking about, you're getting ready to move back there. That real estate is actually more affordable than it was in the 80s.
Well, and the dollar's strong too, right? So
yes, yes.
I do remember how expensive it was. I remember when my American friends would come visit and we'd go to get a cup of coffee and they said, wait, this coffee costs $9. And back then it wasn't that. I mean, in America, it was $2 or something.
it was before the bubble burst. So, I mean, it was definitely.
I remember two things. One, how well dressed everybody was. I mean, the men all had these beautiful silk ties and they were the suits. And then I remember everybody just staring at us because we looked different, and they would go out of their way to like walk us places or help us or this or that. And but it was weird. You'd get on the train and everybody was staring at you. it was interesting.
When I was there, my story about being there, I was wearing the shirt you saw me wear on the show, which was the Hawaiian shirt with the American flags. I have a backpack and I'm holding a cell phone, and it occurs to me I am the stereotypical definition of a tour. Everybody on this train is looking at me going, yeah, tourist.
How old are you? Oh, I am tomato.
That my picture is in the book next to the word tourist.
One of my home leaves, and it was the shirt that I actually wore on the show. I had it airbrushed. I wrote it out for the guy. I had it airbrushed to Hawaii on a home leave, and in Japanese it said, "Boku wa kenkyokaku dewarimasen, koko ni sundeimasu," which means I'm not a tourist. I live here. In Japanese. Of course, they all came up, I was nice. In the subway, it was like this, So I had all this air up here.
We went back in 23, little more than 3 years ago. We went back, and the sheer amount of foreigners as you speak, it's very, very prominent, very obvious. It has. And I think the governmental administration with the new prime minister and so forth are making vigorous attempts to challenge or do something with the burgeoning influx.
Yeah, well, that's it. They tried hard to encourage so many tourists and to people to come visit. Now it's been too successful, and now they're trying to trim back a little bit on those numbers.
It used to be too expensive to visit Japan. Now it's the opposite, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's pretty reasonable. Yeah.
I think you need to know where to shop, where to go, and so forth. Because, well, obviously I didn't have any problems because I was staying with my wife, who's Japanese, staying with her brother, so that cut down the cost tremendously. But if you had to stay there for a good length of time, obviously, you really have to know where to go, where to shop, where to eat, and so forth to stay on budget. So it is quite an expensive endeavor.
I just realized now, I hadn't thought of this, but I remember, because I lived there 4 years, one day I was shocked. I met and spoke to Mother Teresa.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so crazy. I'm Catholic. I was going to church in Roppongi, or near Roppongi. And after the Mass, they said, if anyone wants to go downstairs and say hello to Mother Teresa.
Wow.
And there she was. It was just like, when I think about it now, how many times does something like that happen? So that was
the 80s for you, because I had some friends. I graduated high school in 86, but and all of my friends, they were all going out places, and one day some of them came back and said, "Oh yeah, we were at this club and we were hanging out and dancing with Eddie Murphy." And
is that in Roppongi?
In Roppongi, yes. And so then I'm sitting there at one of those, McDonald's that's right on the street in Roppongi with a buddy of mine, and right past walks Stevie Wonder and his entourage. And my friend was freaking out. Says, "Oh my God, I can't believe, Stevie Wonder." And I made a joke. I said, "Oh yeah, he's sightseeing." So, yeah, I know. Oh,
it was like that. I also met Dick Cavett. The talk show host, Dick Cavett, was standing on the sidewalk, and I walked over and I went, "Dick Cavett, what are you doing here?" He said, "Oh, I like Japan." And I'm just looking at things. You never know.
こんなに素敵なトレーナーがもらえますよ。はい、ご覧ください。美しい模様が入っておりますよね。あなたも、慶長に挑戦して、トレーナーを起用
So Joshua, you were showing the your jacket and stuff. I remember when John and Jeremy and I did the show. We wore our karate uniforms, and I just went and found mine in the closet, and I had put on the kanji on the back of it.
Awesome.
Wow.
Wow, you still have yours. That's amazing.
Joshua, are they still doing the show now?
No, they did the one-off special and then they stopped it. They are making a version. I haven't heard anything about it. I was told they're making a version in Germany, England, France, but I assume they're going to build like one central location in Europe and then have people from Germany go to that location to compete, then have people from England, et cetera, et cetera. But I haven't heard anything for a while, so I'm not sure. They did make a version in Thailand that ran for a while, and they made a version in
Indonesia, wasn't it?
Indonesia ran for a while. And I think those were the main. There was one in Vietnam. They remade the show in a number of countries. They did the version in Taiwan. They did the two versions here. They did, and I wish Dickie were here, but the Netherlands, I think, was the first one.
So were they getting beat Takeshi to be in all those shows, or were they completely? They didn't.
I don't think he's healthy enough to. We watch NHK and other channels, other Japanese channels. Bito Takeshi is still around, but he's not nimble enough, I think.
How old is he?
79, I think.
Yeah,
79.
He had a major accident too, I think. I think it was a car accident of some sort.
A motorcycle accident, wasn't it?
Hasn't been the same since.
Joshua, are you familiar with people like us from every country or no?
Please let me tell Norway, USA, Canada, Australia, Japan, obviously. What countries am I forgetting? Australia, Japan, New Zealand, Pakistan. People who are all, again, have this one weird thing in common that they were on this.
Probably Taiwan.
Taiwan? Yep. I want to tell this story, and again, he's not here, and I wish he were. There was because I love telling this story. Okay, I'm sorry. There was an episode, it was just a normal episode, except there was one guy in it who was clearly not Japanese. He was Caucasian, he had a beret, and he had a beard. Clearly, he was not Japanese. And Tani, at the beginning, when he's addressing everybody,
やっぱりインターナショナルになってきましたからね。やっぱりなんたって very famous this program in Japanese. You understand English?
英語全然ダメだけど。
and everyone laughs, and Tani is so befuddled, he doesn't know what to say, and this guy's...
Können Sie Deutsch? Ich verstehe kein Englisch.
You are...
なんとか日本語できますか？
何バカなこと言ってね。日本語、ドイツの方、ごめん、失礼、ドイツの方ですか。
Cut to 32 years later, I track this German guy down, still lives in Japan. I don't speak German, but clearly he spoke Japanese, and I could speak some Japanese, so I wrote a message to him in Japanese that basically said, "Hi, I'm Josh. This thing, can I ask you a question?" And he writes back in perfect English. You should write it in English. Your Japanese sucks. Aha! He did understand what he was saying.
Auf geht's!
And he said that, and again, I imagine you all have a similar experience. When you're Caucasian and you're in Japan and it's 1986, everyone, without exception, comes up to you and just starts speaking English. And he said he had gotten so sick of it because he got a degree in it before he ever moved there that he just was like, you know what? No, I don't. It was easier to not know it.
Yeah. I found myself saying that on the subway sometimes, like, 私はフランス人です.
I did the same thing when I was again the Japanese tour guide. That's I get on the bus and tell them I didn't speak any English and I didn't know how to use a fork. Because we all would have used chopsticks for lunch.
But I love natto.
こんばんは。僕はバカ中学生です。こんばんは。僕はご覧の通り。
Joshua, maybe I missed, but do you have a website that has any of this on there that we can see more of your story and what you've done to track people down and so on?
I have my YouTube, which I will gladly share with everyone in this chat later. In it, I do my presentation on the history of Takeshi's Castle, the making of, and I believe everyone in this call gets a special along with many other contestants I've spoken to, gets a special thank you at the end of it, of the, these are, and it says, these are our brave warriors, aka contestants who I've spoken to. And I can gladly send that. I've got interviews, Michelle, long-form interview, and I've also got an interview with Kent Gilbert on there.
I saw that.
どちらさんですか?
I am Kent Gilbert. Very nice to meet you. Thank you.
Yep. Chuck never saw the show.
スーパーチャックマン、いよいよ最後の挑戦だ。よし。
I just want to say something that Frankie was saying. I think that there was a time in Japan in the 80s, I lived there for 10 years, and the kindness of the Japanese people, apart from the fact that they may be different now with the number of foreigners living there who bought property and whatever else, and I think it was definitely a little bit more of a naive time. The Japanese hadn't traveled as much, and they were so kind, so generous. It really spoke to how they were in the 80s. They really wanted to know more about people from other countries. And I don't know if people going to Japan now for the first time would experience that. I mean, if you get out of the big cities, yes. But I had meals bought for me that I didn't want, but just saw me in a restaurant by myself and said, someone's paid for dinner for you, or we'd like to buy you dinner. They were just such lovely people. And I could share my life there with them for 10 years. And it was such a wonderful experience.
Maybe I was just a big, ugly guy, but I never had anybody buy me lunch when I went out.
So we had the same experience many times, but the big one was they were doing the national championship the sumo championships. And we showed up at the gate, and obviously it was sold out for weeks and weeks and weeks. And we showed up, and the gatekeeper, obviously we were Americans, and he said, follow me. And he literally walked us in. We sat on the stairs for about 5 minutes, maybe, just watching, and had a group of Japanese ask us to join them, and we sat in some premier seats and enjoyed the world championship sumo wrestling, and it was absolutely incredible.
All I know about sumo is no food was made at our house when the sumo tournaments were on. My mom got into watching sumo, and nothing happened in that house until the matches were done for the day. Dad would come home. I'm there. I'm a high school kid. I'm starving. Didn't matter. Nothing got done until sumo was done.
I think the next one's going to be in Osaka for the Basho. The 2026 going to be down in Osaka, if I'm not mistaken.
I can tie a couple things together here. We went out with my karate group in the early 90s, I think it was, to Victoria Station, where they have the all-you-can-eat salad bar that Jeremy and I used to abuse all the time. And we were just ordering, and then the sumo guys come in, and Musashi Maru is one of them. and all these sumo guys come in, and I was like, we got to get to the salad bar now. They're going to just wipe us out. We got to get over there. And Jeremy knows Brian. He asked Musashimoto for a photograph and an autograph or whatever it was. And Musashimoto pretends he doesn't speak English. He was just speaking bad Japanese at the time. He was fairly new, and but he was on TV all the time. We knew who it was. So he pretended he didn't speak English, and it's like, this Hawaiian guy. Are you kidding me? Okay. Anyway, that was my story.
We used to love Victoria Station. All my actor and entertainer friends, we all lived near Roppongi, and we'd always go at 1 o'clock when all the salarymen were gone, and then they had all you can eat. No, what was it? It was some special that was very cheap.
The
and
salad bar.
Yes, and refill coffees, so we could drink coffee all afternoon from like 1 to 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah, they made a big mistake with all you can eat places because, you know, my little brother, okay, because, you know, we all played football, and there's my little brother, 6'6", 250, okay, and he has his equally sized two friends. One's 300 pounds, you know, another one, and the three of them would go these places, and it was like a, you know, one of those comedy routines that the Japanese would be like, yeah, you guys got to go. They'd be there.
Shakey's
They'd be like
Pizza.
for an hour, and they'll be like, you know, 17
Pizza.
pizzas gone. You know,
Wow.
Yeah, Shakey's Pizza. Yeah.
Shakey's,
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Shakey's
Pizza.
500
That's right.
yen.
500 yen.
Yeah, Shakey's
500
Pizza,
yen.
all you can eat.
Yep.
And they had the
That was another
corn.
mistake on their
They
part.
had corn on their pizza.
Corn and tuna fish.
Ika. And Ika.
日本の料理はイカ大好き。イカ大好き。
There was another place. It was a restaurant, and the upstairs was a bar, and the restaurant was downstairs, and they had an all-you-could-drink for an hour. And you know, they were thinking, oh, you know, you're waiting. Everybody will have one drink while they're waiting for their table downstairs. But we found out about it, and we just descended. It was just like, and that ended pretty quick. We ended a lot of those all-you-can whatever.
We were living up to our gaijin reputations, I guess.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask Joshua, of this group that's here. Like I said, I lived in Japan 4 years. Who lived there? And Michelle, 10 years. How many years do people live?
I lived there for over 30.
Wow.
You win.
I was 12 years intermittently, but I did go to university, and I was minored in Japanese language and became an intermediate speaker. So
wow.
That's why. I mean, I was totally blown away. Day one, when I first arrived in Japan, it was such a different, shocking picture compared to what I had seen as an 18-year-old just getting out of high school. And I said, I've got to grab some more of this. I've got to get immersed in this. And I did.
Roger, what year was that you first?
When I first entered Japan, it was November of 1969. At that time, the yen was not floated. It was a solid 360 yen to the dollar. We partied. I mean, and 90 yen in a bar for a beer. It's good. But then, I think in 72, when things started shifting, and Okinawa got relinquished, got sent back given back on a long lease to the Japanese, and then everything else, the yen put on a floating basis and so forth. Things really started changing a lot. So I've seen quite a bit of Japan, and of course I'm old enough to say that because I've seen all the way from 1969 to the last time we went was in 2023. So I have seen quite a major change.
I wanted to say I worked the 4 years I was there. I worked at NHK on Eikaiwa, and I was also on a couple other English language shows. But I am the worst Japanese speaker. I learned nothing. I learned very little because everyone around me wanted to hear my English because I was on TV and I was the.
I had the same. Yes, I had the same challenge. Even if I tried to speak Japanese at times to be, at times to be very polite and all that, they still wanted to reciprocate and they wanted to speak English instead. So you had that challenge.
The rest of the group here, some of you are excellent Japanese speakers, really.
今勉強しておかないと将来稲川淳二さんですかああいう人みたいにですね悲惨な人生を送ることになりますからすいません失礼します
You better go right to the countryside. Do not stop in Tokyo or any city. Go live in the country.
Yeah, I studied for 2 years before I went, and I got there, and it was all completely different to everything I'd learned. So.
年生か今何の勉強してんだい英語です英語の勉強英語でもって今ね散々な目にあったっていうのなんかちょっと言ってちょうだいよ
I'm sorry.
Joshua, it's Bill. I'm sorry. I've loved this. I want to keep in touch. I'd love, if everybody's amenable to it. If you want to have a group, whether LinkedIn or whatever it is, I'm happy to be on that. It's awesome to touch base, especially with everybody, but especially those folks that were on my episode. This was great. I didn't know how long this was scheduled for, but I got to cut out. If this is the end for everybody, that's fine too. But I do need to get out. And Joshua, please keep in touch, and everybody else, please do the same. Great. I'd love it.
Good to meet you, Bill. Take care.
Really Thank you, Bill. Good to see you after 50 years.
Good spot to probably
bye now.
And every episode of Takeshi ends with Takeshi and his group doing the hip hip hooray cheer, the AAO. And for this, if everyone's up for it, would we all be willing to do the cheer?
Sure.
Yes. Okay, I'll count it down.
Well, but before that, I do want to say I've been mostly a fly on the wall for this, but I've been the happiest fly on the wall. This has been really good. I've enjoyed listening to everyone.
Thank you to everyone who humored me.
Joshua, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for putting it on. This was very enjoyable. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, I agree, Joshua. This was worth coming to. Thank you.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
And Joshua, thank you for being so enamored with Takeshi and Takeshi's Castle. You have encyclopedic knowledge about every episode. It's been amazing just getting to know you.
Thank you. I consider many of you friends. Thank you for being in my life.
Thank you.
And thank you for keeping in contact and pushing this. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And if I could just say, bringing all those memories back. I mean, until you reached out, I sort of went back and processed the time and what it was like, and just so many incredible memories, including that time in Japan around the 80s, 86. It was amazing, and can't thank you enough for that, mate. It's nice to know that I was young once.
Well, with that,
are we doing the cheer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do the cheer.
And no.
Hey!
Oh! My kids are looking at me. What is Dad doing?
数回成り行き番組Hun Takeshi Joe o Waratta. Since its first broadcast in 1986, this program has garnered overwhelming support from viewers around the world, reigning supreme as one of the most popular programs in the history of television. But now, for the time being, it has concluded. Looking back, we've seen countless games played and countless people who took part. Everyone caked in mud, soaked to the bone, as they bumped into one another, tumbled, leaped about, and cheered each other on. And here, at Midoriyama, at Takeshi's Castle, they laughed with the carefree spirit of children once again. As viewers of this program, we have but one sentiment in mind. To the cast, producers, writers, staff, and the thousands of brave warriors who made this show the thrilling program it was, we say, arigato. However, this does not mark the absolute end of Takeshi's Castle. While the curtain may have drawn on its run as a regular series for the time being, the prospect of future versions remains a bright possibility. So dear viewer, until that time comes, we ask that you build up both your mental and physical strength. And the moment the call goes out, we ask that you drop all and return to the fields of Midoriyama to one day meet again. まさに、たけし城は犬に不滅なのである。